Okay, namaste, great souls. Wonderful to connect, share our practice together. I'm just going to briefly introduce a really important concept asked by one of you. And the question is, from a yogic psychological perspective, how to deal with difficult people and difficult circumstances. We'll take a breath. We all know what that is like. And this can be spoken to on so many levels, but I wanted to just condense it. And from a yogic perspective, it's what happens around us we can't necessarily control. Some things we can, some things we can't. But the big work is what happens within us, what we do with that. Now, I know we know this, but to really dive into that, especially with challenging people and challenging circumstances in our lives. So the big process is to move from, can feel pretty wounded and rejecting and not wanting this, very natural, to a process of coming to some wisdom, discrimination, acceptance. And there's a lot of psychological tools to do it. 10 minutes of worry writing, and then that's it. And you just, when your mind catastrophizes, you come back and say, no, I already did that. What if highway, going down the what if highway till you exhaust yourself. I'm not going to give all the tools. I'm just going to talk very briefly. And we'll do the yoga practice, which helps regulate the nervous system, which is always a good thing. But it's tricky because when we've had trauma, our frontal lobes literally go offline, our thinking brain, and a lot of emotions come up, a lot of feelings come up, and it can be overwhelming because trauma, I want to read this, traumatic event is not over when it is over, like the fires, right? It's not over because the fires are over, even though we have successfully navigated and survived it, thankfully. So I'm just going to put out a shout for this transforming the living legacy of trauma by, she's very big in the world of trauma recovery, Janina Fisher, and it's a really short book, but a lot of great exercises. And it doesn't have to be trauma, but difficult people in difficult circumstances. This living legacy could go on, but we want to transform it after the event. And as we know, with difficult people and difficult circumstances, those things are going on, even though the event may be over with. So what to do about that, okay? All right, lots to do. That's the good news. And yoga is so great, as we know, for moving things around and getting into the parasympathetic nervous system, and then just generally detoxing in general. So let's get started with that. Enough of the talking, but I'll try to weave it throughout. And we'll start in our seated breath practice. What we can change within us eventually. We'll adjust the screen here in a moment so you can see, or I'll just get closer to the screen. All right. Yeah. Okay. So sitting comfortably, rolling the shoulders up, down and around, rooting down through the sit bones. Let me just say what we're going to do in the breath work. We're going to inhale to a count of 4 or 5. The top of the inhale, we'll squeeze the shoulders up by the ears, tuck the chin to the hollow at the throat. And then on the exhale, we'll do a 3-part breath exhale. So it's short, short, and then long. Okay. Exhale completely. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Bring the shoulders up by the ears, hold the breath, tuck the chin, draw the navel to the spine, Bandha. And when you're ready to exhale, exhale through the mouth. Really lengthen that third exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Shoulders up by the ears, chin tucks. Chin lock, root lock, navel to the spine, squeeze at the root chakra. Hold the breath. When it's time to exhale, 3 exhales. Short, short, and then long. Ooh. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Shoulders by the ears. Add the bandhas, the root block, the chin lock. Hold the breath. Focus inwardly at the spiritual eye. And then exhale 3 counts. One more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Chin tucks, the hollow at the throat, navel to the spine. Hold, hold, hold. And then exhale. Turn the palms up and just let the breath appear as it's appearing. You can help to lengthen it out more to a 5 or a 6 count, and the same with the exhale. So breath work, tremendously powerful. So what we can control within ourselves. Hear that oceanic sound. Let's say, learn to take comfort and refuge in the sound, in the full yogic breathing, returning, always returning to source, wholeness, peace. And let's get the rest of the body moving. Shake out the legs. All righty, make sure you have a blanket and your blocks. We are going to use some props today. And working on the low back, cat-cow is good for that. Forward folds, of course. Wrists underneath the shoulders. Inhale, scoop out the low, mid, upper back. Inhale, eye gaze up. And then exhale, rounded spine. You could draw back toward the heels as much as you like. We're going to flow. Inhale, scooping out. Breathing this day. Exhale. What can we release? Some physical tension, perhaps, as we ease toward the heels. One more. Inhale. Scooping action. Exhale, rounding, opposite. Yin and yang. Now come to a neutral spine, and we're going to extend that left leg out. You may want to bring the right knee in just slightly, and then when we lift off that left foot, heel the toes down, especially that little toe. The hip likes to turn out to the side, so we want to make sure that that little toe is down, and then the right arm extends, palm facing in. We'll exhale, draw the elbow toward the knee, and then extend out. Just another one like this. Exhale, round, testing our balance, bilateral brain, little toe facing down. Now here's something new. I don't usually cue. We're going to bring our arm out to the side as much as you can, and the leg out to the side simultaneously, and then come back. See if we could do that one more time. Right arm, left leg, find your edge. While you're reaching out, opposites, and then coming back to center, little toe down, let that right hand come down, and we're going to switch. Bringing the right knee in a little bit, or sorry, the left knee in, the right leg out. Right leg lifts, little toe side down, left arm extends. Exhale when you're ready, elbow to knee, drawing in and extending out. One more, which you may be used to. Left elbow, right knee is a Pilates move. Extend. Feel the toes down. And then palm faces in. We're going to open. I just have enough room, I think, to the side. and then back. I'm gonna scoot back a little bit so I don't run into the plant. Go at your pace. It's true. And this side's harder for me to keep the right leg extended. And then find your edge. And then back. Ooh, a little challenging. Let's take rest. Knees wide, stretch it out in prayer pose. Lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. Fingertips up, thumbs up. Resting. Keep returning. Keep living from your wisdom self, your spiritual eye. Two become one. The yin and yang neutralizes. That's yoga. It's a deeper what we're doing here. Deep belly breathing. Hear that oceanic sound. Okay. And as we ripple up, rounded spine. I just want to, since we're on the floor, before we go, we'll do a full body stretch down dog, but I want to show you the difference from what could take a regular yoga pose into transforming it into a somatic practice. And that's just simply adding the rocking. Okay. So let's take our down dog first, get the whole body going. Spreading it out. You know the physical principle, pressing into the base of the fingers, inviting calmness to radiate through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Now, once you're fairly stable, you may want to make small circles with the head, a few times in each direction. Expanding those wings of joy in the scapula, the shoulder blades. Let's just take it into a full flow before we do the rocking. Coming into plank. Strong line of energy, navel to the spine. Either knee, chin, chest chaturanga or regular chaturanga. Coming down, unfurling the toes, Sphinx pose. Mini lift here. That's opening up the scapula, strengthening the spine, and ease. Then we're going to rise into cobra, if that speaks to you. I rise joyfully to meet the opportunities of this day. Add the lion's breath. Good practice after difficult people and circumstances. Not at them, but afterward to release. And then the knees touch down. And we're going to thread the needle. All right. Left fingertips face the right hand. The whole torso twist as we lift that right arm up and thread this arm through. The left elbow bends. We're going to rest on the right side of the head. And here's what makes it somatic. The rocking. Now in yoga, it's usually cute to stay stable here. But now notice when you press through the left hand and rock across the upper scalp on the right side, that rocking is very soothing, very soothing. This is what we can nourish within. Breathing in and breathing out, that rocking as we're moving, going back to our younger, nurturing self, giving ourselves that love and nurturing. So important, especially after challenging people and situations, but anytime. And then we unfurl. Before we go the other side, let's circle around. Adding the flow. So movement. That's supportive. And of course, we're going to go to the other side. So the right fingertips face the left hand, the whole torso twist. We open up and we thread the needle. We thread the arm through. We rest on the left side of the head, press through the right hand, and rock. Now, first, I said it too quickly. Notice the stability, that feels good. But then you add the rocking. Even better. Rocking. And just breathing and moving. Noticing sensations, moment by moment awareness, senses, smells. And then when you feel complete, we unfurl, we come back. Ooh. We scoop it out at your own pace and time. And then we ease back to our down dog. Even though it's a strong pose, we hover the knees off the ground. And pull back into our full body stretch, pressing through the base of the fingers. The heels don't have to touch. Calmness, peace, whatever quality you want to bring in that's calming, radiate through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Now, we're going to come down and I'm going to show you another classic yoga move, taking it into a somatic move by rocking. So the problem with a lot of problems with difficult people and circumstances is our cortisol, our stress hormone, gets activated. And we know in science it takes at least 20 minutes, at least, for that to calm down when we're really activated. So maybe yoga, maybe walking, maybe with some physical release. Don't expect to just calm down right away. It's okay. It's a process. It's a process. So figure 4, great for the hips and the low back. I'm drawing my right knee in. I'm rotating the ankle a little bit. And we know we're flexing through the foot. And we're drawing the right knee away from us. In that triangle of space, we reach through either behind the lower thigh or the top of the knee. My anatomy, I'm able to use my elbow as a wedge. Okay, classic yoga figure 4. What's going to make it somatic yoga is rocking. And it doesn't have to be a lot. So you're still in the pose, but you're giving yourself that nourishment, that rocking. Side to side. You want to make a circle, I'll do that sometimes with the left knee. And then you determine, sometimes I was playing with this the other day, that may be too much to bring your knee down and too much to go way over. So just find your zone of nourishment. Feel the difference when we add the rocking. And then if you wanted, you can reach that leg up or use a strap or hold the back of the calf. And the same thing, we'll do the classic yoga pose. We're breathing, we're gaining the benefits, releasing the back and opposite blood flow to that hamstring. But then see, we want to circle it a little bit. Just tiny, tiny, tiny cup size circles. Again, adding soothing. Soothing, soothing, soothing. Antidote to difficulty. And then in this more soothing place, we most likely could come up with better solutions to the difficult circumstances and people than in that dysregulated state. Okay, so drawing the right knee in, extending the leg, shoulders plug into the earth, simultaneous reaching the arms away from you, and the leg extends, stretch, stretch, stretch through the right side of the body especially. And before we go to the other side, let's just take that in into our full, one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, shoulders away from the ears, full yogic breathing. Next inhale, belly expands, heart opens. Exhale, letting go. Letting letting go of what we can let go of. Okay, from here, bending the knees. Of course, we're going to do the figure 4 to the other side. Drawing your left knee in, rotating the left ankle, flexing through, drawing the left knee away from you. And that triangle of space, we're going to reach through. Use your elbow as a wedge if that works for you anatomically. And just feel the benefit of the figure 4. Very, very beneficial for the wonderful. This is one of the top ones for releasing low back pain. Back pain in general, hip opener. Then we add the rocking. And we're releasing side to side, the head, you know, so much of the mental activity that could go on with difficulties. We want to train our brain. I'm going to get a super quick personal example here without going into a deep story. Later today, I'll be visiting the law library to find out what legal rights are in certain circumstances. And I tell my brain, you know, don't trip out on the problem, find out what you can do, get the legal advice, hopefully free. We have a law library 5 minutes away. And then my brain could know what the steps are in the next direction, of course. So just showing real life examples of ways to deal with difficult situations. All right, the leg's going to extend. We're going to see if we can grab onto that toe. And breathe. Okay. And just let yourself be soothed, knowing the mind will go to difficulties, but then we tell it, we train it to say, okay, I'm going to deal with that. That's on the books. That's on the agenda. I want to have more information, educate myself, hopefully empower myself, hopefully not have it be a huge financial burden if I got legal help from a lawyer, and bless all those people that help us. But I'd like to find out what I can do in that way. Okay, enough of that. Bend the knee. And we're going to draw that left knee to the shoulder, extend the leg up, reach the arms up, palms face one another. Now you can have the knee bent or that leg straight, depending on your low back. If you got low back issues, probably want to keep that knee bent. You decide, you feel into it. This will strengthen it. As you extend the arms overhead, stretch to the left arm, left leg, stretch, 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 and then widen a little bit more and just mini Shavasana. Give ourselves this gift, this grace of, you could have the hand on the belly and the heart or the palms out. Notice if you like that warm touch, very healing too. Contact of touch, breathing. Belly, heart, crown. Exhale, crown, heart, belly, feet. If it's been stressful, exhale through the mouth. Lengthen the exhale. We got all these prescriptions we can utilize. It's fantastic. Okay. Bending the knees. And if you can, draw the knees away and then together. Another hip and back release. Lots of back releases in the hips. Working together here, strengthening and releasing. Okay, we're going to rock and roll. If your back's okay, if not, you roll to the side to come up. Not everyone's back is good to rock and roll. And we lift the heart. I'm going to scoot back, have my fingertips face forward to transition onto these wonderful reflex points of the feet that we can always massage, not right now, but will also help. Roll onto the balls of the feet. If it's okay for your neck to look back, go ahead. If you want to draw your knees down more, go ahead, but keep those inner arms drawing toward one another. And breathing. All right, tuck the chin, lift the knees off the ground, and we're going to come into our forward fold. Very beneficial for our low back. Feet hip width apart, large toes in. You can have a slight bend of the knees. You can let the hands rest at the hollow at the elbows. If you want to massage the scalp, you're welcome to. Again, that nourishment, relaxing. The casting aside things that are difficult people, difficult circumstances. You can always add on. I'm calling in the justice angel, Raquel, whatever, whatever you're going through, you can ask for help of deities, whatever speaks to you, people, archangels, getting support, so important. You're not alone in it, all right? Bending the knees and lift the heart, lift the head. We're going to reach back and we're going to sweep up and keep our strong chair legs. Strong chair spine. Ooh, tossing as a chair pose. And again, cutting through, slicing through. I'm using personal example in justice, reaching up to justice. It is there. Whatever your circumstances are, cut through, name it, slice it out, and then reach up to what you want to go for, what we're opening to. Inhale, reaching up, and tapping into the scalp, the spiritual eye, and the heart. Bringing their hands into the eagle heart, crossing out the thumbs. Mountain pose. Yield into the earth. Feel all that support of Mother Earth. Draw it in. And from the sky, Father Sky, draw it through. Beautiful day here in Northern California. We've had the heat wave earlier in the week. Now we're coming back to doable temperatures. Thank you. Appreciate that. Gratitude. Now we're going to gently open our eyes and we're going to have the blocks. It's really important if you don't have blocks, have a book or something, you'll find it's helpful by our side here. Going to go into a series. Have your blanket, even though I have a carpet, I like a double carpet for my knees. Hinging halfway. Hands positioning around the block, elongate. It's great for the low back as well. And we're going to bend the knees and we're going to step that right foot back into our lunge, but we're actually doing a knee down lunge. So the knee is going to touch. We're going to walk the blocks back underneath the shoulders. Very helpful. Okay. From here, they're here. When we need them, we're going to lift up, tailbone down. And inhale, rise up. Do a few cactus arms here. Pull one of my left foot out a little bit. Exhale. I attune my will to the source of all power. Exhale. I attune my will to the source of all power. Now I'm going to take a half moon. I'm going to bring my right hand down. I'm going to move the block over so I can lightly touch it. It's very helpful. And we're going to arc over in our lunge. We're arcing over and affirming strength and courage. Fill my body cells. So as we gather the energy it is a battle to fight the difficult people and circumstances, but we want to come from this inner strength and courage, from our wisdom self, from our higher guidance, from our justice self, aligning as best as we can those qualities. That's a much clearer, stronger place to come from. Inhale to fight the battle, lengthen up, and exhale. Okay, we have our we're gonna peel, oh, why not? We'll peel our left toes back and half split before we go the other side. Bowing to the wisdom of the heart. So we've got the strength and the courage and the brave heart, if we will, and that softer invitation to bow to the wisdom of the heart, letting it lead the way. All right. Now on this side, we bring the block to the side. And we reach our right arm up and over. Gonna feel different on each side. The left hand's on the block. I don't know if you could see it. So if it's too much for the block, our hands on the hip like this, but you're still getting a side bend in our lunge. Strength and courage. Fill my body cells. Strength and courage. Fill my body cells. So half moon in our lunge. Inhale coming up. We'll flow in a vinyasa before we come to the other side in our lunge. Okay, so we come off of the knee. We root down. We turn the right foot at an angle. We rise up into our classic Virabhadrasana one. Draw that left hip back, right hip forward as deep as you can. Inhale, expand. I attune my will to the source of all power. Reaching up, pressing through the heel ball of the foot, front foot. I attune my will to the source of all power. Great. Now we're going to flow. We're going to come forward. I'm going to come off that back heel, step the left leg back, bring the crown of the head forward, reach through the heels, go back and forth, up and down. And again, knee, chest, chin, chaturanga or classic chaturanga. And transitioning, I felt that, into either our, well, let's come into our forearms. Let's come onto our forearms first in our Sphinx. The back strong, the legs strong, heart open. Breathing in, breathing out. Really exhaling the stress out. And then rising up joyfully to greet the opportunities of this day. Add the lion's breath. Stick out the tongue, legs strong. Good. Adults and kids like this pose usually. Come back. And we're gonna take it into our from the downward facing dog, hovering those knees off the ground, getting the blood flow to the brain. Always thanking the body. Thank you, body, for what you can do. If we're judging our body and we're making negative comments, which is unfortunately too common, we're going to try to just soften that and appreciate what the body can do. Showing up today, it's a major. All right, lunge to the other side. So when you're ready, we can step that right foot forward, help it out, come down on the left knee, have your blocks by your side. Let's set up here. Okay, rising up, tailbone drawn down, arms in our victory pose. Exhale, squeezing those scapula toward one another and expanding that heart energy. I attune my will to the source of all power. All right, getting ready for our half moon, lowering our right hand down to the block and extending over through the left side. strength and courage fill my body cells. Cultivating that brave heart. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Standing strongly in the principles that you may be fighting for or challenged by. Come back to your center. And then, of course, going to the other side. Blocks there, left hand by the block, right arm up and over. Cultivating the brave heart. And feeling the earth, feel the ground, the earth energy underneath you. Really important to ground when things are difficult. It gets very, I know it gets very heady. It can go very mental. So it's important to ground and be in the body, be in the breath. Strength and courage, fill my brave heart. Coming up. And then doing the peeling the toes back of the right foot. Half split, right hip back, maybe take your left hand on the toes, bowing to the wisdom of the heart. Now it's not usually done, it's a, again, stable yoga pose, but see if we just rock a little bit. I won't be able to rock a lot in this pose, the knee has to bend a little bit, or notice if you like a better stable. We'll try it more in the pyramid pose where it's a little easier to rock, but see which pose you can add a bit of rocking if it feels right. Even more nourishing. All right, from here, bend the knee. Get set up for a classic Virabhadrasana 1 by coming off of the back knee, turning the foot 30 degrees, moving your blocks out to the side, and rising up. Take your time to come up. Right hip back, left hip forward, rooting down, rising up. Breathing in, I attune my will to the source of all power. Maybe bring the forearms toward one another. Just doing a couple of these. You can always add weights. Okay. And then from here, I'm going to do it. I feel an interesting transition as we come forward. We're going to take our blocks again forward, and we're actually going to go from the ground up into our Virabhadrasana 3, our warrior 3. Okay, with the blocks, it's a lot easier. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to step my foot in, and I'm actually going to bring my blocks forward and upright. Okay. Now the right foot's down, that left leg comes up. Now that same thing where we turn the little toe side of the foot down so we don't pop the hip to the side. And we're rooting down, of course, and then we see, do we want to stay here or do we want to try to fly? Do we want to try to lift up and out? Lift up and out. Is it possible? And then cultivating that brave, strong heart, we can tap into furniture of the wall to help us out. It's hard to get that little toe down. It likes to turn out. Cultivating the brave heart for 3, 2, 1. Come back. Let's take a rest here. And either a half extension or a full forward fold. I'm going to place my palms and my hands underneath the soles of the feet in this one. I'll rock side to side. Draw the navel toward the spine, blood flow to the brain. Challenging from the ground up, challenging to do warrior 3 in general, I find, but especially from the ground up, but hopefully you felt a little bit more balance with the blocks. And then your choice to lift off away from the blocks or not. Okay, let's try the other side. Left foot roots down, Right toes lift off. Little toe facing down. You'll probably feel very differently. I'm feeling very differently as I come up a little bit higher. Do I want to lift off? I'm going to try. Maybe I'll bring my arms back or to the side and hold. Definitely more challenging. I'm bringing my hands back to the block. You see what works for you as we cultivate our balance, our strength, our brave heart. Just lifting higher off the block to give myself that challenge. Lifting off on this side feels a little too much today. Every day it's different. Honor your body as you come down. It's still a balance pose. And we melt forward. Right foot a little back. Hands on the shins. Elongate the spine. And as promised, we are going to come into our pyramid pose with our right foot back. And left hip back, right hip forward. And here's where I invite a little bit of rocking. You can lift the toes up of the left foot. See how that feels as you bow to the wisdom of the heart. Ooh. And now stabilize. That's the classic yoga pose, how that feels. You may not think to bring rocking into certain poses, right? But that's what gives that even deeper level of nourishment, somatics, and makes it even more healing with the rocking. Both are needed, stability and rocking. Okay, let's take it into a revolved triangle since we're here, why not? Again, block very helpful by the instep of the left foot. Lift the upper body, left hand on the left hip, start to twist your torso. If you're feeling a balance challenge, you may need to walk that left foot out a little bit wider, stabilize. And all these twists and turns of life, these challenges, can I come back to my center? Yes. Can I be in my center as it's happening? For me, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Okay, that's the problem with these challenges. It feels a little knocked off of our center. And so, yeah, we can always come back and melt forward into the wisdom of the heart. And of course, it depends on the depth of the challenge, right? Some are mild, some are medium, some are intense. Okay, as we switch, let's flow. Vinyasa, bend your left knee, step it back, tread it out. Move in and groove in. As we ripple now forward, let's bring one forearm down in our forearm plank. It's an option. Lunge the head forward, lunge the heels back. Then the tops of the knees touch. Elbows draw toward the hips. Legs are strong. Breath is active. Heart is open. And I'm joyfully rising to greet the opportunities of this day. Inhale, cobra. Lion's breath, if you choose. Everything's optional. Shoulders down. Knees touch. And before we totally rest, we're just going to do a rounded cat, go to the pyramid, and then rest after. Exhale. Inhale, neutral spine. And we're going to come back to down dog. And step our right foot forward. Okay. Getting set up for our pyramid pose with our blocks. with lifting, you can see lifting the toes off the ground, right hip back, left hip forward, bowing to the wisdom of the heart. And then see, I need to step my left foot back a little bit to just get into this rocking. It could just be a micro rock. It doesn't have to be big, but soothing and strengthening. And those are in the qualities of the heart, of course, soothing and strengthening. Okay, let's take it then into a more stable pyramid for 1 or 2 breaths. Feel the difference. The both I love. And when you're ready, revolve your triangle. So the block on the instep, I'm gonna move this one out to the side. Start to walk my right foot out a little bit for some more stability. Start to twist at the core, and then it ripples through the torso as perhaps that right arm extends, head to tail connected. So trying to be as grounded and centered as possible through the challenges. Grounded and centered, beautiful, but especially in the challenges. And this pose is a little more challenging. So challenge that principle in life. The yoga asanas are about principles in life. Okay, slowly come down. Back to our center. If we get knocked off because of difficulties, we can come back. We can stay in our center throughout. And bend the knee, and let's come into our forward fold, stepping the back foot forward. But this time, bring our hands over toward the little toe side of the right foot, so we're getting that stretch for the outer left hip a little bit more. Still releasing any heavy burdens to the earth and gathering support simultaneously. Whatever works for you as systems of support. Really feel that opening on the right side. Back to our forward fold. And then back to our chair pose. Uttasana, bend the knees. Sweep the arms back. Pulse. And what do we want to bring in? Love, wisdom, courage, whatever it is for you. And then sweeping out. Fears, doubts, worries, injustices. Fight the battle sometimes. And then bringing in that strong, brave heart. Supported. Inhale. Feel the space all around you. Circle it around you. Open up your auric field. It's happening anyway in yoga. We might as well be conscious of that energy that we're allowing the gunk to release and the good stuff that's in us to come in. All right. Hands at the heart again. You really press now a little bit more into your hands than you might usually. And feel that whole connection of the heart, the hands, the brain. Whenever we want to wake ourselves up, you can even do this before you wake up in the morning, rub your hands together. You're going to generate oh, not just heat, but the energy of awakening through the systems of the body. So it could be rubbing the hands will activate an aliveness and an openness. And then hands back. Okay. I'm going to drink some water and we're going to eventually come to the earth again. So you can do the same or gradually meet me. And then come down. Oh, and I have your weights. We did this last week, the bridge with the weights. If you choose, you don't have to have the weights, but it's helpful. And when we come down, so we come down into a squat and into our butterfly first, soles of the feet together. So we're talking about the difficulties that, of course, the natural rejection that happens. This can't be happening. Is it really happening? Oh, yes, it's really happening. Okay, so that's a process in itself. And then coming to the acceptance of what it is, then from that place, we could then move forward and what can we do about it? Are there options here? It's really hard when there's not a whole bunch of good options, but acceptance. So this affirmation here, secure in myself, I'm working toward accepting what is. If you can say the full affirmation is secure in myself, I accept what is. That's beautiful. If you're in the processing stage, you're secure in myself, I am learning to accept what is. Breathing into acceptance, learning to accept what is, versus the natural initial pushing back, rejection, disappointment. A lot of tough emotions come with that. Disbelief. Anyway, I'll stop there and keep going back to the secure in myself. I'm learning to accept what is, and once I accept what is, then more, it's a much wiser action to take from that point, of course, than that reactive stance, which we know. Okay, so bringing the knees in, coming rippling back, having your weights by your side. So we're having our head off the edge of the block. Get the blanket, getting the blocks out of the way, ripple down. Hugging the knees in, releasing the back. And bridge pose is going to strengthen the back, but we don't want to overdo it. So maybe go into less of an arc if there's low back issues, but no, you're strengthening and having your weights by your side. These are just 5 pounds, 3 to 5 pounds weights. We're going to inhale, lift the hips up. The full yogic bridge would be like that, but probably go into a Pilates bridge, not as high, but still strong with those inner thighs working, moving toward one another without moving the feet, bending the elbows, and then reaching back with our arms with the weights. Exhale, extending if you can. We'll just do a couple pulses like this. Every thought is a bridge back to my true nature. We could, our wholeness, our awareness is already here. Our true nature is already here. And we're simply coming back to it and remembering it. A bit ironic how we forget. But we can come back. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Reaching up,
And then when we come out, we're gonna release the upper, mid, low back down. I'm gonna ease those weights down so we can fold in, rock side to side. Again, that rocking, right? Really focus on rocking today. And every day when you do your practice, let the left leg extend out and we're rocking. Here we go again. Our right knee. So much about the hip and back, and shoulder, everything today, but especially strengthening the low back and the hips. Okay. Planting our right foot down enough to swivel over to the side. The left hand comes on the side of the knee and pulses back and forth. Let that rocking reverberate through the entire body. The neck, enjoy it. When you want to be fairly stable, you could sweep this right arm so the legs are stable, but the right arm comes around and that rainbow arc, affirming divine life is within me and all around me. Ooh, divine life is within me and all around me. Ah, I like to press through that left elbow to even open more before I come out. And circle that knee again. So that when that leg comes down, that right hip is opening out to the side. And we're easing the shoulders away from the ears and just feeling, especially that right side solar active doer, getting the stuff done. Ah, so needed, but also necessary to have some ease. Right, lunar side, representative of more the witness, observer, awareness. The witness and neuroscience is actually plugged into the amygdala and the brain. So when we can tune into the amygdala, which we definitely can in yoga practice and in our life, the idea is we do the practice and we come off the mat and we add those principles into our lives. That's what the gurus are helping us to do, to take this restoration and then bring it into the world. And whatever way you do that, so important. And from that amygdala, the point being is that we're not as in it as a solar doer. That's the classic service, as we're doing service in the world from that expansive place of divine connection. As what's happening there, as we forget, and ego comes on, we're rocking side to side, and feels like it's doing it. But really, that's the invitation. The invitation is to approach all these situations, whether difficult or not, from that greater sense of self. Whether you call that awareness, witness, observer, God is God, divine life, we're affirming, stabilizing the legs, divine life is within me and all around me. That's what I want to do. Keep attuning to divine life within me and all around me. Okay. When you feel complete, we come back, we adjust onto the spine, but we do that circle of the left hip a couple times. On the knees coming out to the side, we let that left leg descend, soften the left shoulder away from the ear, and just really luxuriate in that lunar side. Often Ramana Maharishi is this famous guru that is famous for the who am I question. Who am I really? And that's going beyond the surface levels of the self into the deeper self. One hand on the belly and one hand on the heart, left and right, unite in the central channel and neutralize these waves of opposites as we neutralize them in the full yogic breath. Belly, heart, crown expands. On the inhale and then the exhale, crown, heart, belly. And we're going to ask from this inner wisdom place, what would be the best for me today in Shavasana? And if there's any back issues, I recommend a slight elevation, maybe on a chair or ball, or perhaps legs up the wall. Or if you want a heart opener, bolster, you know your options, and you could choose what works for you. And our restoration. I'm going to do a little bit of Yoga Nidra in our relaxation. Yoga Nidra is a wonderful practice to work with opposites. We can work with physical opposites, heat and cold. We can work with a couple of emotional opposites. I'll be weaving that in the guided relaxation, and we'll bring those both together eventually, and it'll have the same effect of neutralizing, but I want it to be your experience. I want you to feel what happens for you in this practice. It's a wonderful practice to do when we're going anytime, but especially when we're going through difficult circumstances and dealing with difficult people. Okay. So settling in, getting as comfortable as possible. Maybe using an eye bag. And just tuning in again and again. When in doubt, just come back to the breath and inhale for 5. Hold gently. Exhale for 5 or 6. Releasing the tongue at the floor of the mouth. It's what happens within that we can control. As we soften from the top down, the forehead, any lines of tension there, just inviting to soften. Inviting the muscles and nerves around the eyes to ease, especially back of the eye sockets themselves, left and right. Exaggerating a yawn. Allowing the left and right jaw, upper and lower, to soften. Lots of holding going on there. Breathing in, your next inhale, feel the coolness through the nostrils, and maybe coolness or light at the spiritual eye. And warm, cooked air coming out of the nostrils. Again, see if the tongue could relax at the floor of the mouth. And softening as much as we can in the gums, the teeth, tongue.
And open up to that oceanic sound in the throat. You are that wave connected to the vast ocean. And in the ocean depths is more stillness. We're returning to that. It can be choppy on the surface, but we can return to the ocean depths. Softening through the shoulders. And feel that radiant sensation streaming down both arms. Notice the temperature in the palms of the hands. And as we breathe into the heart, we're just opening up the floor, ceiling size walls of the chest. And we're going to work with just a few emotions that can be difficult, and we're actually going to learn to breathe into them. So times where you feel impatient, irritable, not accepting what's happening, frustrated. So if you can sense if that feeling comes up for you now in your body, where you feel that impatience, irritable, rejecting, unaccepting. Learn to breathe into that and feel that because it's happening. But then, of course, we want to balance it with times where we know we can feel patience, acceptance, calmness, allowing. See what happens when you bring in these qualities, the opposite of those difficult emotions. And we want the patience to wrap around in patience, be bigger than, nurturing a younger child. We want acceptance to wrap around. It's unacceptable, it's rejected. Acceptance wrapping around what is frustrating and intolerable. So allowing as best as you can everything to be here simultaneously with the stronger wisdom qualities wrapping around the ones that are difficult. Not bypassing them, but wrapping around them and just noticing what happens. It's a practice, it's a process. It happens naturally over time, but we're making this a process and a practice to be with it. And feel the body again. Feel if you felt in those areas in your body where those emotions landed. Coming into the solar plexus. Coming into the belly with the breath, low back and hips. Feel your back body. If you're laying on your back body, supported. Feeling your thighs, your cheeks, your knees, your calves, your ankles, all the way through to the soles of the feet, digits of the toes, relaxed and aware. And in yoga, we come back to the joy kosha, this place where we're already whole, we're already free, we're already aware, awareness of that amygdala, witness, observer, whatever you call that, whatever deity you may be asking for guidance to help you, or deities, nature, and returning to the natural love of the heart, the strength and the softness of the heart. If it's hard to feel that within you, you could visualize anyone you know, could be a place or a pet, or receive unconditional love. Let yourself be filled with that natural, unconditional love of the heart to replenish and restore. And know that you have a natural resiliency. Appreciate that. Appreciate we've all been on the planet for a while now, and you could reflect on times that were really hard and how you survived that, and be honest about the capacity to be resilient. We are changed from these experiences. We're not the same as we were, but we come out hopefully in a growth way with the challenge. And if it is time for you to return to movement, you can do so gradually. Wiggling the fingers or toes or whatever way works for you, resting on your side or staying in Shavasana. It's a great, if you have the luxury of time and want to absorb more, the more you can absorb in this state, the better. But for TikTok time, I'm going to just guide those who want to come out to a comfortable seat perhaps, and we'll visualize those beings, those people, those, of course, the deeper practice is to send healing energy to these difficult people in your life, but that's an individual consideration when you're ready for that. Forgiveness is the big answer, but that, of course, is a process as well, as we know. So whoever you're comfortable with visualizing at the spiritual eyes, I'm going to generate some heat in my hands because that activates more with the 3-syllable Om sound, sending all those beings light, energy, love. Inhale. And bringing the hands into Namaste if you'd like, bowing to the wisdom of the heart. As always, the antidote, letting it lead the way today and every day as we hopefully ease with grace into our day. And I will turn the recording off for those who want to check in.